Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I am also the co-founder of More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. We are coming to you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time with the goal to highlight amazing individuals from HR executives to CEOs to owners to C-suites, not to talk about their journey as business owners or entrepreneurs or anything along those lines. It's truly to highlight the individuals that are working hard day in and day out to make their organization a place that truly is more than a business. So please tune in every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. I also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, True Captive. They've been a huge part of making this happen. So, they believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do ever want to learn more about this captive healthcare program, just go to truecaptive.com, or you can reach out to myself and I'll get you connected with them. They are just a wonderful organization with speaking the words of more than a business. So we'd be happy to get you guys connected. So thank you so much for that sponsorship there. If you are tuning in, go ahead and give a shout in the comments here on where you're tuning in from, whether that's Ohio or Kansas City or wherever you're coming from, as well as what platform you're on, so that we know where you guys are coming from. And as I'm having this conversation with our guest today, go ahead and shoot in questions if you would like for us to maybe try and answer some of those, or comments that we can kind of throw up on the screen. So I have found that it's better for the individual to introduce themselves than myself introduce them. So without further ado, I am going to welcome Mike Abernathy to the show here. He is the president and CEO at Buckeye State Credit Union. So Mike, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mitch. Appreciate you having me on.
Very, very happy to have you on here. I know from our early conversation, I was just floored by, you as an individual and what you went through to get to where you are at, and just the transformation you have had within the organization itself. So I'm really excited to kind of dive deep into that. But before we do, go ahead and give us kind of like a high overview. We don't dive too deep, but who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and the organization itself with Buckeye State Credit Union.
Yep. So, as you said, I'm Mike Abernathy. I'm the CEO here at Buckeye. And credit unions, many people kind of struggle to understand what a credit union is and how it's different from a bank. But we offer basically the same services. Main difference is that we are actually owned by our members. So if you join the credit union, you're actually part owner. And it is a democratically run organization. You vote for the board of directors, which then assigns a CEO. But it is a very democratic way of running a business, and we are a not-for-profit organization. So definitely trying to help consumers out there, with the credit union mantra being people helping people.
I love that. And your role specifically, Mike.
So my role obviously is to oversee the strategic direction of the organization, make sure that we're running a good business, but also living that credit union motto of people helping people. So doing different things out there to try and stay involved in the community and helping individuals at individual levels that need it.
Love it. Love it. I know from our conversation, there were some amazing things that you had personally done within the organization. I don't know if we'll dive into that just yet, but the way that we always kind of start the show is just an impact story in and of itself. So, what is something you, or maybe the credit union, has done with, whether it's a client or a team member of yours, that has had an impact on that individual?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this, and we had a member back in 2017, and this was prior to me becoming CEO. As the senior vice president of lending at the time. And uh, to give a little background, Buckeye went through some tough times between 2014 and 2016, um, barely hanging on, uh, almost insolvent. And
Mm.
we transferred CEOs. So one left. My predecessor was elevated, and we were tasked with saving this organization. We were very close to not being around, and so we had got off to our best start in many years in 2017. But part of the process of the recovery was we had to sell our corporate office, and so a lot of us had to start working remotely. And I remember waking up one morning, and I'm an early riser. I get up around 6 a.m. and I go up to my office, and what does everybody do first thing in the morning? They pull out their phone, start kind of scrolling and looking. And I came
Yep.
across a friend of mine had a GoFundMe page shared. It was a person I didn't know, and I was just drawn to it. And I click on it and kind of read a little bit about what's going on. And it was a young lady who had late stage cancer, who was trying to raise funds to be able to go to alternative treatment in Arizona.
Mm.
And they were trying to raise about $15,000. And man, unfortunately, they had like a couple $100. They weren't even close. And so at the bottom of the page, there was just a comment section. And I just felt compelled. I left my name, my number, who I was, and just said, why don't you give me a call? And I want to say it was like 5 minutes later. I mean, this is early in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Just this lady calls me. And I said, I would love to be able to do something to help. Would you mind kind of telling me the story? And she's like, and this young lady was in her early 30s.
Mm.
And she just goes, I have late stage cancer. I got weeks to months.
Jeez.
I'm trying to get to Arizona where there's an alternative treatment. She goes, it won't cure me, but it could get me some time. She goes, my daughter is 5 years old,
And the
and
end's coming.
I'm trying to just buy as much time as possible. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to call somebody right now, and I'm having them call you before we open. And if you're open to it, let us take a look at this deal. And I just said, have you talked to any other banks or credit unions? She goes, I have applied for loans everywhere. I've told my story to everybody, and every bank turned me down. And I just said, well, we look at things a little bit differently. Go ahead, and if you're okay, share your story with the guy that's going to call you. So I call my consumer underwriting manager, and I said, I want you to give this lady a call. I want you to run an application for her and just get back to me and tell me what you see. And it was about an hour and a half later, he calls me, and he was torn. He's just
Mm.
like, man, that story is really, really rough. He goes, but I'm looking at this like she has good credit, but she's unable to work, so she has no income.
Yeah. Yeah.
The husband is working, but he's got bad credit, like beyond
Mm.
what we could go. And he's self-employed. His taxes are a mess. He goes, if we're looking at this strictly from a business standpoint, he goes, I don't see how we could
Doesn't
approve
make
this thing.
sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And but he just kept saying, man, I really would love to do this deal. And I said, I would too. I said, let me look at it. Let me think about it. And, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about the credit because at the time we were very small. We were like a 70 million in asset, which is very, very, very small.
Okay.
And we're coming out of these 3 years where we lost a lot
Right.
of money. And we are just now starting to barely make a profit. And
Yeah.
so sitting here thinking about, man, this loan's not going to repay. And,
Hmm.
you know, with us barely making money at the time, this could be a bit of a setback.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's truly like God grabbed my heart and just
Mm.
tugged on it and said, do the right thing. Do the right thing. And I just made up my mind in the moment. I called her back. I said, you know what? We're going to do this deal for you. I want you to be in Canton today, which is where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is.
Yeah.
And we have a branch up there. We will sign the deal and fund it today. Get this taken care of. And she was beyond grateful. She is so gracious.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was an amazing moment. But now I have some explaining to do. I'm not the CEO yet. So I
Yeah.
feel obligated. I call my predecessor, and my predecessor is a brilliant businesswoman. She was 29
Awesome.
years old as a CEO.
Oh my
She got,
goodness.
yeah, right, and she got an outstanding opportunity in Michigan. That's why she's no longer with Buckeye. But I call her, and I'm nervous because she's accountable and responsible for the recovery of the credit union. And
Yeah.
I told her
Yeah.
what I did is, you know, better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. And after I told her, she just kind of paused and just said, "That's the right decision. I'm proud of you that you made a hard decision like that."
Mm.
So she goes, "Make sure it gets done. We're going to do the right thing." And, I also have to think about the regulators who are going to ask about this loan, but
Yeah,
that's
for
later
sure.
down the road. So long story short, we give her the loan. We know it's not going to get repaid. It's okay. And she goes to this place in Arizona, and she's sending me messages and sending me pictures of the treatment. And she
Oh
actually
my
kept
goodness.
kept communicating for quite a while. And what she got from that treatment was 2 years. She went from weeks and
During
months to
from weeks to years.
2 years. She got 2 years. And
Wow.
the whole decision making process for me was because at that time, in that moment, my daughter was 5 years old.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it pulled at me because I'm sitting here thinking, what if that's my wife?
Amen. Yes.
And and I was willing to just say, you know what, it's the right thing to do. And like I said, I really felt like God guided me to that decision. And it's unfortunate that it came to an end, but I realized, the difference between a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. I can ask my daughter, "Do you remember anything from when you were in kindergarten?" And it might be bits and pieces here and there, but she doesn't remember a lot. But if I ask her what she did in second grade, she can really lay out, "Hey, I remember doing this with my teacher, and I did this at recess, and it was completely different." So the difference in those 2 years was that that young girl went from, maybe the memory is, I know I loved my mom and I
Foggy.
remember kind of what she
Yep.
looks like, but there's no detail, to now she has detailed memories that she can pull on to remember her mom, which was an amazing, amazing thing to hear. Um, so that's truly a mark of being more than a business, you know, and it gave us some satisfaction in that we really lived the credit union mantra, which is people helping people,
Helping people.
and knowing that so many others had told her no. And this was a catalyst for our business model, which is we can't help everybody. We're not big enough to be able to do that.
Mm.
But we we
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
out of our we go out of our way to take chances on people that others have left behind. And even during tougher times, and right now economy is a little shaky. The financial
Right.
services world is not what it was a few years ago. We're still
Yeah.
doing what we can. We're still giving philanthropically. We're donating money. Um, but that was kind of the moment where we said, this is who we are. And we are more than just the business itself. We are going to be good stewards of our community, our members, and the individuals out there that need help.
Holy smokes, Mike. I, there is so much like just pure like joy and gratitude in the fact that, you like summing that up wasn't necessarily that you gave, this woman time, although you did. You gave their daughter memories of their mother. And, as I sit here and, we talked before we hopped on here with a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old, like I'm tearing up on this end of just the fact of like what you gave this person being the daughter, um, the opportunity to maybe remember her voice or remember her laugh or something along those lines. And when everything on the business side says no, 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 the heart of the organization comes through and just says, yeah, this makes sense. This is a no brainer almost in that sense. So, man, I appreciate you sharing that. And I just appreciate, I know there's other organizations that have maybe done something like that. For me personally, this is the first time I have heard of an organization doing something like that. And I just want to tell you how much, that even just moved me as somebody in Kansas City, hours and hours away from Ohio. And the work that you were doing is just inspiring me to make sure that we evaluate things from not just a business perspective, but a heart perspective too. So, man, that was I am that I'm almost speechless, man. I really am right now. I uh, thank you for sharing that. We even have another someone on LinkedIn here saying kudos to you for helping her out. That's why I just worked at a credit union for almost 20 years doing the Lord's work, man. So recognizing that from other people. Mike, yeah, man, we knew this story was going to take some time, so we're going to transition. Obviously, that's just so cemented in the fact that Buckeye State is doing work in a way that is truly more than a business. So let's transition into you, man. Let's let's dive deep. Like what motivates you every single day to show up? Maybe even on the days that it's hard to put your feet on the ground and think that this is going to be a good day, or the days you walk in and you're walking into a storm. What continues to motivate you to show up day in and day out to be able to serve the people that you're blessed to serve, both your members and your team members?
Well, I think the big thing for us is that we're kind of that little engine that could, and we're this organization that is doing things other people and other companies can't or won't do, and it's very motivating because as much work as we do that's good, we realize that, man, sometimes bad things happen to good people, and
Mm.
bad things happen to our business. I can go as far as saying, a couple weeks ago, one of our key partners, um, they downloaded they're trying to fix a problem and made it a lot worse, and it left 8,000 members without their debit cards the weekend before Christmas.
Ooh.
And so we were able to rally and get over 20 employees to volunteer, not be ordered, volunteer to come in and work their butts off, individually correcting 8,000 cards one by one. If that doesn't motivate you as a leader, that your team members, not ordered to come in, raise their hands and jump in and say, I'm in, I will help solve it. It was wow. And it just reminds me of, this is why I get up in the morning, go to work, because we have done such an outstanding job of hiring great ethical and moral people
Mhm.
that are willing to jump in and help people when they might have early Christmas plans. They might be traveling,
And
jumped in
literally
and
be
saved the day. So to me, that is hits right in the heart, and it's just something I'm like, it is my job to continue to be there, and I'm
mm,
proud to
mm.
lead that type of an organization.
I mean, that even just obviously that shows just the culture that you guys have been developing, and going back to the heart of people helping people. Like, I just sit there and think again, like, obviously you were helping the people that didn't have access at the time, but I'm sure your team member didn't do this out of malice to make things worse than they should have. Um, we can stop it there in case that was the case, but it doesn't sound like that
No,
was the
no, no, no,
case.
no. It was a
And
third
you're
party vendor, and they were trying to fix a problem. It was all well intended, but unfortunately made it worse.
but your team members stepped up. I'm sure it wasn't just let's help these individuals, but we've got the back of the individuals that are truly helping us too. So, and now's my chance to really show my gratitude and appreciation in a way that can help solve multiple issues here. So, just kudos to you guys for establishing such a strong culture where it is, not a request, it is, or not a demand, but an ask of volunteering to come in and fix that. So, that would definitely motivate me as a business owner or a leader in the organization to just be so grateful for the individuals that we've chosen to put into place to serve the credit union, but the members of that credit union, to where you can know sure and well, like, people are being taken care of and being helped. So, wow, man. I'm still inspired by the first story you told me here. I know you told me that was going to be a good one, and I'm still just like really, really just amazed at that this show actually has the opportunity for you to come on. We met randomly through LinkedIn to be able to highlight that, and now this story is being shared across multiple places on ways that other businesses can truly go out and make a bigger impact than just profit or the bottom line. And so I'm so humbled just to have the opportunity to have this space for you to share that, but also just being in contact with a leader that truly cares about the individuals that get to serve, and doing a bigger and better work than we can ever imagine. Just when you sit there and think you're handing out loans and processing payments type of thing. So I greatly appreciate that, and the time that you've shared with us coming on here. If anybody wants to reach out to you, whether that's working directly, indirectly, or just wants to hear
Mhm.
more about the good work that you're doing, man, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Sure. I encourage people follow me on LinkedIn. You can look me up, you'll find me. But if you want to contact me directly, you can get me at mabernathy@buckeyecu.org. And I encourage anybody to visit our website at www.buckeyecu.org.
Awesome. And if for whatever reason you can't reach Mike, just go ahead and shoot me a message. I'd be happy to get you guys connected as well. Um, Mike, part of our show is showing gratitude and appreciation. And what my wife and I wanted to do with our business and this show is truly show that by allowing you to send a meal to an individual, whether that's a member of the credit union or a team member, but maybe share as much or as little as you would like about an individual that you'd like to release
Mhm.
this meal to, and maybe why you want to do that.
So, yes, I'd like to donate a meal to, unfortunately, a now former member of our team who had to leave the company about a week ago, going through some difficult family issues and some personal issues that, you know, it's very hard to balance some big issues while still trying to work. So, trying to raise children on her own here in the city of Akron, and doing the best she can to try and hold it all together. So, would be greatly appreciative if we could help out this individual, and certainly I'll get the contact information to you.
Yeah, well, it does give me joy to be able to help some of those individuals out that don't necessarily need a handout, but a hand up at times. And this is something that I get so much joy out of, just obviously from this show, but the ability to go and create an impact on an individual that is going through time that just maybe sometimes it's not fair, or I will never experience personally, but want to make sure that we're able to be a resource for that. So, Mike, I'll definitely connect with you after this to make sure that we get that out to that individual. Well, man, we've kind of gotten to the end of the show here. What I always like to do is, if you have any last thoughts or comments that you want to add to this before I go ahead and kick us off, I'll leave it to you for the next couple seconds here.
Yeah, I would just say for those that don't know what a credit union is, we're not a gym, we're not a country club. You don't have to pay a monthly membership fee. When we say member, it just means that you're an owner. You join just like a bank. So I would just encourage people, if you've not explored a credit union, check it out.
We are partners with a credit union here in the Kansas City area, and every time I go over there, there are cookies and coffee, and my kids constantly are asking to go to the credit union here based on the cookies. But yeah, it's a different experience than I've had with other financial organizations that I've partnered with, and I would definitely echo that side of things. So, Mike, hey man, keep doing in the words of this LinkedIn user that went our way, doing the Lord's work and the work that you're privileged and blessed to continue to do. Happy New Year as well, man. And I wish you guys the best this coming year as you guys continue to grow and be even bigger and keep doing just amazing work. So I'm greatly appreciative of you coming on, Mike. For everybody else that's tuning in, we do this every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. So I hope you would find some more time to come and check us out. And if you miss it, you can always rewatch it a little bit later. But with that, we are going to go ahead and see you guys later. But I just encourage you to continue to strengthen those relationships that are most valuable to you. Mike, we're done, man. End of the show. And you want to say anything to the audience as we take off?
Thanks for tuning in. It's been my pleasure.
Love it, Mike. Appreciate you coming on. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.